If you're an experienced Sims 4 player, the build mode in previous Sims games can appear daunting and restrictive. Although it can be a bit difficult to use at first, the Sims 3 build mode remains the king of customization. What's up guys, Rakowski here, and today we're gonna build a starter home in The Sims 3 nice and slow, step by step. Before we get started, please don't forget to hit that like button to show your support, and please subscribe for some more quality retro Sims content. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Also, let me know in the comments what your experience building in The Sims 3 is. Did you get the hang of it, or was it too overwhelming and clunky when you first tried? Okay, with that out of the way, let's get into the video. So here we are in Sunset Valley, which is like the base game world for The Sims 3. If you're a new Sims 3 player, this is probably the first world that you're ever gonna play. And from my experience, the world is beautiful, but the builds are something else. So I always like to build my own house here. And I thought for this build, we would do it in like Lilsimsie style, because I think it's gonna fit right into Sunset Valley. Well, except Kayla has taste. But you know what I mean, like a suburban style, like a gabled roof, like plastic siding, nothing too crazy, nothing too complicated, something that should be familiar for everybody watching. Oh no, I can't find an empty lot anywhere. Oh, that's okay. I'm playing The Sims 3. I can just put one down wherever I want. Actually, I'm just kidding. I'm just gonna pick one of the lots that already exist. I think I'm gonna go in this neighborhood because I think these are particularly ugly and I think the neighborhood could use a little touch of style. So here we are at 99 Landgrab Avenue and it costs 1,800 simoleons, which isn't too bad. It's kind of a bigger lot than I was hoping for. I usually like doing like a 20 by 15 for a startery house like this, but this will be good because it'll give us some extra space in case I want to show you guys anything else. So before you begin a Sims 3 build, the most important thing to do is to figure out, do you want a foundation? And if you do, how high do you want your foundation? So there's kind of three main options. A regular foundation will be kind of like 4 clicks up, meaning like 4 stairs or whatever. But if you hold the Alt key and make a foundation, it'll make it a shorter foundation. So it'll only be like 1 step. And I know that's really popular for some Sims 4 builders. And then of course, we also have the option to just skip the foundation altogether, but I think for the build I want to do today is going to be like suburban style with a porch. So a foundation is going to suit us just fine, and I'm going to go for the higher up one, which is kind of like the default, because honestly, most people don't even know about the shorter foundation, I think. So for a suburban house, I just like to start with like a rectangle, and I usually just kind of add on to it as I go. And I also like to keep in mind that I'm going to have a porch at the front, so if I want stairs to stick out, you have to make sure that there's enough space for them, because if you build the foundation too close to the edge, it's not going to work out good for you. And I'll just start by drawing a room to cover up most of our square. I'm going to do a front porch. If I want a little back porch, I can always just kind of like remove a couple walls and figure it out that way. I might not want it to be like the whole facing, but I could do like a little corner or something. And I'm going to add a bump out to the side just because I think we're going to need a little bit more space in here. I'm not going to make this like a tiny house, but it's certainly going to be on the smaller side. I'm also not a fan of keeping the walls inside as I build because I don't want like any influence on like the floor plan. I want to make the floor plan as good as I can for the Sims, and if I start trying to like, you know, make it match all nice in terms of squares, it's not going to work out too well. Now the first thing you're going to notice about building in The Sims 3 is that as soon as you build like complete squares, the game wants to put auto roof on it, which is great when you don't know how to roof anything. But I think after The Sims 4 has taught us so much about roofing and like making it easier for us, I think we can handle one by ourselves. So I'm just going to delete that and go into the roof tool. You should always start with a flat roof first, just so that way you don't have any like visual glitches when you're in first person mode. So with our normal gabled roof, we can just kind of draw like we normally would in The Sims 4. Now there's not as much customization specifically with the roofs, so you'll have to kind of play around with it to get something you like. But I find just like doing gabled roofs all around does a really good job. Now I'm encountering a problem here because I want to use this roof, but if I pull it out all the way, it's going to stick through on this side and I don't really want it to. So instead of that one, I'm going to use this tall gabled roof, and that'll keep it like the tallest side, which is going to be perfect for where I want it. Okay, I think that's pretty basic and familiar. I think everyone has seen a Sims house like this, or probably even tried to build one themselves, right? So the next thing I want to go into is columns, because those work a little bit differently as well. If you notice, they like to go in the middle of the tiles, not on the corners of the tiles. So we're going to type in our first familiar cheat, although it's a little bit different. Instead of bb.moveObjects, it's actually just move objects on. And then once I have that, then I can like all place my columns in convenient places, but there's also fences that include kind of column pieces, which I like to use. So things like this will put the columns right on the corners as well. I actually like this. Why don't we start off with this and see if we can make it work? If your colors are ugly, don't forget we have create a style, so we don't have to worry about our colors matching and our woods and all that, because that's something we can fix very easily later. The other thing that columns do is they provide support for things. So this fence is not going to support a flat roof or anything. Sometimes you can get away with it with floor tiles like this, so I can go 2 tiles deep, but not 3. So if I wanted to go 3, I would have to have a column or wall or something to support it. But once I have that flat part, I could use like one of these hipped roofs if I wanted as well, kind of do it like Willow Creek style. Now I find using the half gabled roofs on the porches is not a good idea if they're actually like the full width of the house. So I bet if I shrink the porch a little bit, I could make that look a lot nicer. Alternatively, I could just do like another gabled roof and just kind of pull it out all the way to the front. That's not really my style, so I'm gonna try something else. Now you don't always have to make everything perfectly symmetrical, and I think our solution is gonna fall in just making it a 4 tile wide porch and not centering it. One of the big criticisms about the Sims 3 build mode is that you can't make things perfectly center, but in reality, things are not always perfectly centered either. So I don't mind having to like accommodate for things like that. Plus I think this is gonna give us a much better roofing detail. So if I take another gabled roof and I kind of just put it like across 1 tile short, it's gonna make like a nice little funky shape. And I think that looks really nice from the front, way better than what I had before. And it works well because the bump out's on the side here. So it's balanced even though it's not symmetrical. Okay, so I've got a nice little shape here. I have ugly colors though, so we're gonna have to remember to change those. I don't like the white with the wood at all, but we can change almost everything in this game, pretty much except chimneys. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I think what we should really work on is the windowing and the floor plan. So I'm thinking I really want like a 1 bedroom, 1 bath, nothing too complicated. I would do an upstairs, but it's just gonna look like the same house, just 1 story taller anyway. So I don't think that's gonna teach us anything. When I like to enter a suburban house, I like it to be like an entryway or like living space right away. I don't like the kitchen to be the first thing. So I'm thinking to put the kitchen either on the side or in the back. So I already have my back porch over here. I can always move my porch because it doesn't have to be in any specific place, you know? So let's just get started. I like at least a 4x4 for a bedroom, if not bigger. So how many tiles do I have here? This is 5. This might not actually be too bad. Why don't we try and make a 5x4 bedroom first? We're also gonna need like at least a 6 tile bathroom. Maybe we can get away with 5. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna try and like stick it over here. And yeah, looking at this, now I see like I don't really have a great place for the kitchen. I guess I could put it along the wall, but that's gonna be too short. So I'm actually gonna move my porch and restructure, I think. I still don't want a big porch, so I'm just gonna try like a 2x3 porch there and we'll get rid of this one. Okay, so now I think I have it better because I can stick a bathroom here at the back and I can stick like a little hallway out to the back porch here, and then that way the kitchen, living, dining is all in one open space here. And if I do want a separate kitchen or something, I could always draw a wall here later. It's not gonna be a big deal. I won't have to restructure anything. I just like to get at least that much done before I choose my doors and windows, because if you like your windows where they are and then you want to put a bathroom somewhere, like you can't have a floor to ceiling window, right? And friendly reminder, we can't really center things on the grid. So since we have a 4 tile wide porch, I think a 2 tile wide door would be perfect. So looking at this 3 tile wide, it's just not gonna do the trick. But maybe this, well, probably not this hospital one, but you know what I mean. There we go. That's pretty and nice, isn't it? I like it. Oh, and when you have the move objects cheat on, you're gonna see like the windows and doors glitching around. So just make sure you turn it off at the end of your build to make sure everything kind of locks into place. I'll try to remember to do that later. Okay, so looking at the windows, again, there's lots of different window shapes, colors, and sizes. Don't worry about the colors. Just worry about like the style of window, how wide the window is, and where you want it. Ooh, I found this like bay window from Supernatural. That might actually do the trick. It might be a little bit too bold for kind of what we're doing. So okay, so that's pretty much the skeleton of the outside done. We just have to figure out style and whatnot. So let's go inside and see if we can figure out the rest of our floor plan. I also like to do like a skeleton inside, which basically means laying down chairs, furniture, appliances, things that you're gonna want in the house. Maybe not specifically that couch or that toilet, but just to give you an idea as to if everything's gonna fit nicely. Okay, I'm gonna throw down like a regular bed, and I'm gonna grab a toilet, sink, and shower, just like general things that we're gonna need regardless of how the build goes. This is also kind of a tricky part because I have to figure out exactly where I want the kitchen to go. And now that I'm looking at the floor plan as a whole, I'm definitely more interested in breaking it up a little bit. So I'm gonna separate the kitchen. I have every pack installed. I'm actually gonna use the Supernatural fridge because it's kind of old fashioned and nice, and I haven't really used it before. And now I'm noticing that these windows are actually a little bit too low for the kitchen, and I still want the outside to match. So I'm gonna actually replace them with something a little bit shorter. And we have a 4 tile wide kitchen, so we're gonna use a 2 tile wide little like archway door, just so that way it kind of keeps it open, but it's still separated off. This is kind of the way that I prefer to do it. But if you're running out of money, you could just of course delete the 2 walls and like they'll be able to walk right through. Okay, so this pretty much does it for the skeleton build. I got like a sofa down, I got a dining area, a bedroom. I don't put the skill building things or anything, just kind of like the basics, right? But now with that done, we can start getting to work on the create a style, which I think is like the most important part and probably the new part for a lot of you if you haven't done a lot of building in The Sims 3. So I'm just gonna start by throwing down some plain basic siding. So I can just shift click all of the rooms just like I normally would, but The Sims 3 has an extra special feature. I notice on the Sims 4 houses, you can never get your like columns and corners to match up right, but you can just kind of like do them yourself here in The Sims 3. So I'm gonna decide where I want those. And just like most normal players, I want them on every single corner, not like how The Sims 4 does it. So I'm gonna take my time and just do all of them manually just to get it out of the way. So here's how it looks in white. I don't like it at all. Sometimes I like the white houses, but not for this one. And since I'm doing it in Simsy style, why don't we do it in a nice blue? We'll do like a blue Suburban, but we'll use my kind of blue, not her kind of blue. So now I've chosen this blue, and now it seems like it's gonna be a pain in the butt to change all of the other colors, but it's not too bad because instead of going in and like picking the color that you want every time, you have several options. You can go into the color hex code. I can copy that, go into a different part of the house, and then just kind of paste it in and change it. So as you can see, those all change to blue, but there's an even easier way. If you see these like 5 buttons up here, it's to grab the preset and you can just drag it to whatever you want. Like let's say I wanted to do like the door blue, I could just drag it onto the door and make it blue, whatever I wanted. And in fact, if I hold shift, it's gonna make the whole roof piece here blue instead of just the one tile. So it's gonna save me some time. Like going over to the side here, I can do the exact same thing. Done. Well, I say done, but I actually have to do the corners separately because they're not touching. But you know what? For detail, sometimes we have to sacrifice a little bit. Now, one thing I will note, before you change the color of everything, make sure like you decide that that's your final color. So I've already kind of decided that this is the blue I want to go for, but let's say I wanted to change the blue later, I'm gonna have to do it all over again. So sometimes it's nice to just do like little sections of your house first. Ooh, actually looking at it now, I like the blue door. I don't know, I might change it to a different color, but I thought I liked the white better, but apparently not, which is great because it's create a style. Now it's the same thing with the windows. Like they have all these like wood textures. You can change the texture of the wood, you can change the color of the wood. I'm not going into like crazy detail because for me, as long as it looks like wood, it's fine. So I'm just gonna change these to white. I don't know why people are always like, oh, create a style is so hard. Like it's once you get the hang of it, I promise you it's fine. Okay, now the only thing that's really throwing me is the brick foundation. So the good news is that with these foundations in The Sims 3, this is something you cannot do in The Sims 4. I can just take whatever siding I want and put it on the foundation. So if I want it to be like a different brick, I can change it. If I want it to be tile, I could make it that. I could make it anything I want. Ooh, and I think this like funky green stone is gonna work because it has elements of white, elements of black, all the things that we've already used. So looking at it now, I'm actually very happy with the result. You might find it ugly, but that's okay because you could change it and create a style to whatever colors you wanted. This is just my style and I'm gonna go with it. And I notice now like the porch, and I notice now like the roof is a little, like it needs a little extra something. So sometimes I just grab like a hipped roof and just drag it across. It'll balance out all the sides here. It'll line up nicely. It covers the porch and it just adds like an extra little touch to it. So I don't know, I don't hate it. Okay, actually that adds like a nice little touch and it almost looks like we have a second floor, but we don't. So it's really gonna fit in with the Sunset Valley world, I think, and all of the EA builds. So let's jump inside and make it a nice house. So heads up, wood flooring in The Sims 3 is particularly ugly, so I usually have to change it in create a style, except for this brown one. It's called long width diagonal planks, and it's 8 simoleons a tile, but it's the only wooden floor I like just how it is. The Sims 4 is really limited with like carpets. There's lots of rugs, but not a lot of carpet. And here again, you can just change like the texture of it. You can change the color, anything really. The other thing I do, the other thing I've been trying to do lately, which I find really helps, is doing the wallpaper last. You can match your wallpaper to the rest of your room. It's a lot easier to do that than to match your furniture and stuff to the wallpaper. I'm actually gonna turn move objects off just so that way I make sure the entire inside is functional. The Sims 3 functions similarly to The Sims 4 in the sense that you can still kind of put things where they don't belong and Sims can still scoot past, but it's not as forgiving. So I just like to kind of be be on the safe side with it. I think you can go a little bit more cramped than I do, but I just like to make it easy for myself. Okay, so I got a few more things down, but now I'm starting to see that I really can't see anything. So this is going to be a common problem in The Sims 3 you're going to face, by the way. So make sure you get like a few ceiling lights, wall lights, lamps, and stuff like that. In The Sims 3, the more the better, I think. Okay, so the inside is pretty much complete except for making it look good. Now, this is where the tricky part comes in. You're going to have to find a way to harmonize colors because everything is in your control. Now, an easy way to do that, I find, is to like pick a color you want to go with. Like, for example, how about we pick this color here? And again, if I go into create a style, I can just copy the hex code and we're going to pop into a website to get like a nice little easy color palette. There is a wonderful website called mycolor.space. I don't know why they misspell color, but they do. So once we go into that, we literally just have to enter in the hex color that we found from our game. See, we can see it's right here, bright and blue like always, and you can get all sorts of different gradients and patterns and stuff. And as I'm scrolling through, I don't like to copy one specifically. You might want to if you're like a little less experienced with stuff like this, but for me, I'm just looking for like commonalities and harmonizing things, and I'm really liking the purples going on. You know I don't like these greens, so we're gonna go with more of maybe like a diet lavender. Yeah, so maybe for that couch, I'm gonna kind of integrate that purple, maybe for the bed as well. I think for the fridge and the kitchen, we'll keep it a little bit more plain though. And there's not really too much to say about like the actual process anymore. I think I gave you guys pretty much everything that you need to know. So why don't I hop out and I'll finish it quick and I'll meet you in a build tour because I know you guys like those too. See you there. So here we are at our gorgeous starter house that I just kind of whipped together in 30 minutes, but that was kind of the point, just to show you like this isn't super complicated. It doesn't take all day as long as you kind of like have an idea as to what you want to do. There's a few details that I've added since I last saw you. I added a tree to the outside, a little bush in the back kind of wrapped around this fence, and it still was within like starter home budget. I actually forgot I was doing a starter home for a while, but when I moved these two Sims in, like they had just enough money to get it. But yeah, the front is pretty much as you remember it. Now, as we go inside, we see like our bright, colorful living room and lounge. Now, I know these colors are not for everybody, but remember, this is create a style and you can switch things up kind of as you see fit. I was just kind of going for like a different vibe. This is kind of like the Easter version of my normal color palette because I do like teals and I do like pinks. Going into the kitchen, I kept the floor with the tile too. Like, I don't know, like I just felt like this was a color that could work for the inside and the outside, especially for somebody who was a little bit more bold like me. Going into the bathroom, nothing crazy, nothing to write home about, just like the bare basics. They have toilet paper rolls in The Sims 3 too, so you can do like lots of decorating. I decided to put a knife block here, but there's lots of little items that like you could add in yourself. I'm going in here to the bedroom, again, like bright colors, the colors that I enjoy. Maybe you don't enjoy them as much, but wait a minute, I see that color. Oh my god, look at this. Like, that's the same color as our house. I forgot about this. Give me 1 second. So this house is called House Plan B, and it is hideous. Like, oh my god. Like, look at the front of this thing. You can't even tell what's the front door. I don't know what that roof is doing. What the hell is happening, right? So looking over at ours, like, this was kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to do like a nice version of a Sunset Valley house, and I think I pulled it off. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I like it. I'm going to save it and I'm going to keep it for a rainy day, just like when I need a quick build. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, or if you learned something, give this video a like and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I love building in The Sims 3 and this is like kind of outside my comfort zone, so I'm willing to kind of do anything. So let me know if there's something that you want to see. And do you prefer these videos or like the speed build videos? I'm not sure. It's really hard for me to talk and build at the same time, so you might not get a mansion in this style, but I'm willing to open up and kind of like change up what I'm doing. Anyway, thanks again. I'm rambling. Have a good day. Boom.